Hey, welcome back to the Frank Driscoll Show. We have special guest Chantel Ray, and I'm super excited to have you back on the show. Welcome back, and can you quickly tell us how you're doing and how come you have those beautiful glasses on right now?
I actually scraped my cornea on my eye, so the doctor said that I have to be really careful with light. So I just have to wear sunglasses for the next 2 days, and then I'll be fine.
Perfect, perfect. Well, they look great. It matches everything. Just want to let you know, what have you been going on and doing during COVID, and how have you kind of been dealing with this stuff?
My routine hasn't changed one bit. I mean, besides the fact that I now work out at the house, probably instead of working out at a gym, I just have a trainer come to the house. I have a couple friends come over. I converted my whole garage into a gym. So I'm still working out 5 days a week and still keeping my routine. I still wake up anywhere. I probably now wake up an hour later. So I used to wake up around 5 a.m. or sometimes I'd go to the gym at 5, so I'd wake up around 4:30 or 4. Now I'm waking up anywhere, some days at 5, some days at 6, and then I'll go to the gym at like 6 a.m., sometimes 7 a.m. So I'm just kind of pushing that back a little bit, because I think one of the things that's really important for your immune system is to sleep, right? Like having an adequate amount of sleep. So I'm just during this time getting extra sleep. So I just probably am getting an extra hour of sleep every night. And so that was probably one of the biggest adjustments. But besides that, everything is the same. I'm doing my same old routine I do all the time and keeping really consistent. We never closed for one day. So there was not one day that we closed. We're just wiping things down more. All of our offices are all like 6 feet apart. So, we just kind of are doing our same thing and we're busy as can be. So that's good.
Hey, and for everyone out there, just to keep in mind, she is so consistent on her sleep pattern when she gets up and hitting the gym and doing her routine. So if you're thinking of some of those keys to be massively successful, which I know she is, and I've watched it, she is super, super efficient with that morning schedule and just has it dialed in. So tell me, is there anything new going on with you? Anything out there that you'd like to share with us right now?
So about 6 months before COVID happened, I basically had a conversation with our team and I said, no one was coming into the office. So we had 7 locations all over Hampton Roads. And my managers were all like, it's like the agents just are not coming in for whatever reason. They're like, it's like a ghost town in here. And so I just said, well, this is an insane amount of money that we're spending on all these leases. And I just really prayed about it. And I said, I really believe that we need to, within a year, make our company 100% virtual. And so we'd already set everything up. That was 6 months before COVID. And we'd pretty much right before COVID had everything lined in. I think we were about 95% still done. Like the last piece was our onboarding piece. So that wasn't completely virtual, but then when COVID happened, within 4 days, our web team kind of went in there and made that all 100% virtual too. So now we're just now 100% virtual company, and we still have a couple of locations as the leases expire. So we own 2 buildings outright. We're going to keep those 2 buildings. And we've just decided to, since we are completely virtual, we can now move across the country. So we're just expanding across the country and going 100% virtual.
I think that's a huge change and a great change in that direction. Just to knowing about you and how much detail and work and looking into everything and making that plan and adjustment. I think it's going to be great. It's really going to expand your opportunities, as far as to help and connect with a lot of other agents. And I think keeping those costs down, if people weren't already going in and not really taking advantage, it just seems to make sense. What has been the biggest challenges so far for you to make that adjustment, or going through, or things that have maybe something you haven't thought about, but then now you've come up with some great solutions once you kind of attacked it?
Yeah. So what we used to do, because for me, I think leadership is so important. I think that, some companies don't have the leadership that they need in place. And so, but what I did wrong was for each office, I had a leader, and they made a $70,000 base salary plus they made a percentage of profits of that office. And as we were going, like, it was insane because each office we had over 30 bank accounts at one point, because each office we had like 7 locations. We had a savings account, a checking account, and an escrow account for each. That's 21 right there. And then we had multiple others for our President's Club and for taxes and just all these crazy accounts. And so what we've done is we've just simplified all of our processes. So I'll give you an example. One is we now operate everything as far as accounts go. We now have like, I don't know, 7 accounts, something like that. We've brought them all down. But the way that our managers were working, like, we had some managers making between, if they were really doing well, 250,000 plus on their salary, which I'm happy to pay that. But we had some people who were maybe making 120,000, but they just weren't bringing a lot of money. And so I had a guy tell me before, he said, you know, the way to really pay someone is try to pay them 30% of their salary is their base salary. Then another 33% is what they're getting if they're doing a good job. And then another 30% if they're crushing it out of the ballpark. And so what we ended up doing with all of our leadership now is they just get a percentage of company dollar. And we also do that with our brokers. So all of our brokers, so now, perfect example, if I want to hire somebody who is in Washington State, I can hire them. I'm going to hire a broker and I'm going to pay them. They get 3% of company dollar. And so for our brokers that we have here locally in Hampton Roads, we have a total of 3 brokers and they all make 3% of company dollar, but they do well. You know, they still do some deals. They're still answering questions and stuff like that, but they're doing a phenomenal job on still doing deals. Plus they're also just handling broker questions. And now I'm only paying them 3% instead of having this extensive salary, right? Like when I opened up a North Carolina office, when we first opened, this guy wanted a base salary of $30,000 plus all, you know, additional on every deal. And meanwhile, we're paying him $30,000. Well, when you open up a new office, that we were paying him, when our new office, we were paying $70,000 base to the managing partner, a $30,000 base to the managing broker. And so, you know, for the first 6 months, it takes time to, you know, get agents. It was just expenses going out. And now with our new platform that we have, it's a way that you can start your business and I'm only paying those guys off of company dollars. So talk about, I'm never losing any money. I'm just, every time I win, now they're winning. The upside for them is their potential for earning is so much higher. So now all our managers, by doing it with company dollar, they're all making more money currently than they were when they were on salary. But for me, it's a win because if the market slows down or if we're not doing well or in November or December when we're having a slow month, hey, you're getting paid on company dollar. Yes, you're getting more in those other months, but on those slower months, and then we've implemented a great system for recruiting where if you recruit an agent to our company, you could get up to 25% of company dollar just for recruiting an agent. And it just keeps going up. So between leadership and management, someone could make up to 50% of company dollar for leading them and managing. And so that's what we did differently is we said, okay, if you want to recruit someone to our company, you can recruit them. And then people were like, look, I don't want to manage anyone. Like, I just want to do my own thing. So I'll bring them in and I'll make money on them. So that's half of the puzzle, right? Then the other half of the puzzle is if you want to make money leading, coaching them, helping them drive their business, you can make that separately. So we've kind of split that off and we have 2 separate people. Some people do both. Like they want to recruit them and they want to lead them. So we've kind of created that with the model that we've created.
And that's perfect. And guys, we'll have the links below too, as well, to make sure that you can click to find out more information on any of these things. But it sounds like a very interesting and great model that you're creating. And kind of part of it, if you talk a little bit about, kind of going into, you've been in this game for a while, and kind of some of, let's say, the mistakes that you've made in the past, and now you have all this knowledge and all the corrections and the way that you're implementing this to have massive improvement and kind of learn from that and start to become super efficient. Can you start to tell us a little about that, about how your leadership can kind of really help a lot of these agents?
Yeah. So another example is an admin position. Okay. And so right now we have 4 full-time web developers on staff, and that's all they do is create systems and processes for every single thing that we do. So for example, let's say we had our Virginia Beach office. We had a full-time girl in that office, and all she did was enter listings in the MLS, update listings, then she would do the transaction coordination. And so again, perfect example. She just did the Virginia Beach office. Then we had another office in Chesapeake. We had a girl at the front desk, same thing, entering listings. Well, some days the Virginia Beach girl, she might be doing 15 transactions. She's completely slammed, while the girl in Chesapeake is like doing her nails, talking on the phone, because those agents aren't that busy that day, right? And then same thing with like in November and December, it was like, we're paying these girls a ton of money because in, the summer months, we have to have so many people. And so what we've done, even with our admin program, is we pay them, they're now 1099s instead of being a full-time employee. They get, again, when they win, they win big, but on a slower month, they might make less money. So they get paid per listing. They get $15 for every listing they put in, which again, it takes them about 20 minutes to put a listing in. So they're making over $30 an hour to put in the listing. They get $5 for every change form that they do. Like the change form doesn't take very long. Like you go in the MLS, it's like, okay, price was $200, now it's $195. You enter it in, find the house, $195. You see what I'm saying? So it's not that much. And then they also get paid per transaction that they do for each of those files. They make $150 or $200 per file that they do for doing that transaction coordination. So again, they can take on as much or as little as they were. But for me, think about, and we have a system that completely automates it. So watch this. When a listing comes in, someone says, hey, I've got a new listing. They enter it in, but that's not a good use of an agent's time to be putting that in the MLS, even if it takes 20, 30 minutes to do. First of all, the admin is so much faster, right? And so they put in the listing, the admin, it's first come, first serve. It's almost like Uber, right? Where it's like, new listing pops up, and all they do is hit accept, and our system on the back end processes. We have someone that's doing quality control on that, and then that's accepting it. But think about the amount of money that we have saved. We've gone down to about 3 admin from when we had 6 or 7. So just from doing that process, because think about it, the other people were sitting in the office, they're spending half their time just chit-chatting with agents, right? Like, hey, Susie, how's it going? How are you? I jammed up the printer. Can you help me? Or how was your weekend? I mean, just all of that, we're saving so much. And we've just automated everything that we've done. The other thing we've done is just even like our agents, for our top agents, we love to recognize the agents because we just think, people want to be recognized. They're working hard. They're doing so much stuff. So we've automated that. So like a new listing pops in, we go in and we go, congrats to Susie for your new listing, right? And we have it, and then it's an automated piece. We already have the agent's picture. We already have that info. It automatically posts it and then goes to Facebook. So we've just keep investing more and more money into our web department. And so like our goal right now is to really get like small brokerages that are all over the country, or just single agents that go, you know what, I want to be in a company that I want to grow in my leadership. So on my board in my house, I say three things to myself every single day. I say, I develop leaders. It's not what I do, it's who I am. I love developing leaders. Like, that's just why I was created, I believe, is just I love leadership. I love helping people grow. And so that's one of the things I say. And then I say also, help me to grow people closer to God. So that's obviously another really big passion of mine, is to get people to just walk in a closer relationship with God every day. And so spending time with him and being a blessing to other people. So, with that being said, if someone says, look, I want to be in a company where I can just do it. So we do a $20,000 cap. That's all they have to pay. And then once they cap, they actually get $4,000 back towards leads and then towards our President's Club trip. So it really is less than that, because the money they get back. And then they also get the inputting the listings, and then they get the leader to help them, and a local broker and stuff like that. So we're really excited about it. And just the automation we've put into place is just unbelievable, how much we've automated things, so that all these processes that we used to spend so many man hours doing. I mean, just think about that alone, right? Like that post, if you're paying a girl to like click and drop someone's picture and then find the listing, and just automating all of that, even with all the listings, all of our just listed postcards are automated. It automatically feeds from the MLS. They can post it on Facebook. They have one click and they hit, add to my Facebook. And so all their marketing is automated. So that's just really what we've been focusing on, is how to automate and outsource some of the different things that we were doing a lot of in-house.
Perfect. I mean, those sound like massive improvements. Certainly going to save some money and allow those funds to be spent towards the agents or systems or processes to make things better in automation. Now, as far as like some of those incentives that you mentioned, a trip that they can go on, can you tell us a little bit about that when they hit?
Yeah, so I'll give you a perfect example of how I streamline that as well. So like every process, I was like, the President's Club trip, we take them. So we went this past year to LeBlanc in Cabo. And I'm going to tell you right now, you know how high maintenance I am, right? Like, I'm just like, if I'm not staying at the Ritz-Carlton, I'm just not happy. I'm going to tell you right now, LeBlanc Cabo is the real deal. Like, it is just, we actually went right before COVID, because we take our trip. We take our trip every year. And I prayed about it till I was blue in the face. And I was like, God, should I take them? Because this is when COVID was first happening, And I just prayed about it. And I was like, there's something in the Bible called a fleece, where you can kind of put a fleece out before God. And I was like, God, if you want us to go, then I just pray that this happens. And then that happened. And then I was like, God, I still just don't know. I need you to show me another sign that you really want us to go. I did that 10 times, because I was like, here, I'm taking all these people's lives, right? Like, what if we can't get back in the country? The day we got back, the next day they closed the borders and said no one's coming. And we had the best trip of our lives. We were the only people at the resort.
Oh, wow.
We already had, like, they already give you 5-star treatment. We got like 10-star treatment. There were no lines anywhere, right? So I'm so glad everything worked out perfect. Everyone was healthy, came back perfectly fine. So, but anyway, so what we used to do is, we would book everyone's tickets. We would book the flight, I can't do this date, and just all these shenanigans. Now, this is what we say. We say, this is where we're going. You book your own trip. We reimburse you the day you get back for $4,000. And we make sure that the trip is, no more than $4,000, and they can spend whatever they want. Like, if you want to do this or you want to do it, it's not all inclusive trip, but it's $4,000 and you get it back on the day that you come back. If you come, if you can't, but like, I'm telling you, like, this is all the headache and nightmare. When we were doing it the other way, it'd be like, my friend wants to come on the trip. Can he come? Hey, my friend can't come now. We need to change that name out for this guy. Make sense? It's like, we would literally spend hours and hours and hours on planning this trip and doing this. Now it goes, here's the location. Here's the dates we're going. join us or don't, you know what I'm saying? Or if they didn't want to go on the trip, we'd give them $4,000 towards leads, is another thing. So we help people. We just think helping people, we're really, really good at generating leads. And so now what we do is we just sell leads to people at like a really discounted rate where agents can get those leads. And so they can choose, if they want to get leads instead of going on the trip. How much time that saves our company, and the agents love it because a lot of them they can buy the trip on points, like on their credit card where they have like free points for this or free points, and then we're giving them cash back, so they're using their points, and now the day they get back we're writing them a check for 4,000. So that's just a perfect example of how we've streamlined our process, and we do that every day. We just look at our process and go, this is a disaster. This is a headache. This is causing so much nightmare. How do we simplify this?
No, I mean, that sounds amazing. And I think with those savings, then you're able to allocate more towards the agents to those processes. So everyone kind of wins. So it's a great thing. Now moving.
Yeah, and the 10,000. Good.
Yeah,
I was just going to say like one. Good.
I'll wait.
Okay. I was going to say, so one of our locations all of our locations are in really hot spots, like around town, but one of our locations is $10,000 a month. So that $10,000 a month, when that lease ends, we're taking that money and we're going to be doing, more events with the agents. And, it doesn't mean that we're not going to be in person, because I believe culture is important. And so as soon as you say virtual, it doesn't mean we're not getting together. Like I'm having all of our top agents at our house this Thursday, and we're going on jet ski and going boating and doing that and doing fun things. So it doesn't mean we're not getting together. It just means that now I'm going to say, we've rented out the back room at Why Not Pizza. Everyone come and we're buying lunch,
Mm-hmm.
So we're now using that money to put back into the agents. We're giving them more leads. We're just building positive culture, but just why waste 10 grand when no one was barely coming in the office anyway? It just doesn't make sense.
No, for sure. I mean, and that's also a really good sign of listening to your agent, right? And then taking actions according to their behavior, right? And that constant improvement that you talked about with getting it better and better. Where do you think the markets are going, at least the areas that you're at? And what are things that agents can do now to really help, ensure that they're kind of future proof and they're ready to go, especially with the programs that you guys have that you're creating? How does that look for an agent joining in? What can they kind of expect?
Yeah. So first, let me talk about what I think is going to happen with COVID right now. Like, I don't know what's going on with your market right now, but for us, our market is insane. Like we are just like, we're in multiple offer situations where anything under 500,000 is like, you put it on the market, you've got 10 offers on the table. I mean, is that kind of how you guys are
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now? Yeah,
certain
just crazy,
process.
right?
Yeah.
But I believe part of the reason for this is because if you think about it, like in our area, so I know a girl who has 4 kids. Her and her husband got $1,200 plus another $2,000 because of the stimulus package, right? So that's 2,000 plus another 1,200. So she just randomly got $3,200, right? Just a check in the mail. Plus her and her husband both still had jobs. So their jobs, they still had that income coming in. Our interest rates, we're getting people 2.5%, 2.75%. So the interest rates are still really low, even lower than they were before. So now here's one of our buyers who now just got an extra $3,200. They now are getting an interest rate of 2.75. And so that's just one example. And these buyers are flooding the market. Meanwhile, our sellers are like deer in headlights. So they're not selling. A lot of them aren't selling because they don't know what to do. They're like, I don't know if I should sell. I don't know if I should stay. They just don't know what to do. So they're doing nothing. That's what happens when people get in deer in headlights. And then, so that's why we're in the market that we're in right now. But I believe that what's going to happen is next 6 to 12 months, a lot of these places who are just going to go out of business. I mean, they've got this a lot of these people have this stimulus package, but there's so many people who just still won't be able to make it. I was looking at we have a place called Beach Movie Cafe. I mean, this place has been closed for the last 4 months, and we still haven't opened that yet. So how is that location going to stay in business? And then those employees, they might be paying them now because of the PPP, but when that money starts running out, I'm really concerned that in the next 6 to 12 months, things are going to start really worsening. So I think for real estate, we're sitting fat and happy right now, and things are going good, but I don't know that in 6 to 12 months it's going to be the same story, because I believe that we're not going to have that stimulus money coming in anymore. Where a lot of these people are getting, the money for unemployment. That money is not going to be there. And so I think that people need to be really, really focusing on how to save money. And that's what we've been doing. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's why we're like, we don't need the location to continue. We don't need this. And we've created a system that works so well with a little bit of money. And so I'm really excited about that. So I'm really passionate about helping some of these small brokerages that are really just, even teams that are not their money wisely. And we've kind of created a plan for the foreseeable future, these next 6 to 12 months. Everyone needs to tighten their belt. They really do.
I think it's some great advice. What's the best way if someone was wanted to go and take a look at this right now? Where would you tell them to go to take a look at this, if they're a team or a small brokerage or individual agent?
I'd say probably the best place is to go to chantelray.com/careers. And there's a video on there that kind of talks about all the systems. And then even if you're not interested in joining, I really suggest that you download on there, our brochure that breaks down the entire, all of these systems. And I think people can really learn from them, because in our brochure, we have a 40-page brochure that it's in full color, and it really explains things really, really well, of exactly how it goes. And if someone is, interested in joining us from any part of the country, like we would love to talk to them a little bit more about how they can get involved and join us.
Perfect. Make sure you guys go take a look. At least go through and look at the brochure, see what she has to offer. I think
people will get really good ideas from it. Even if you go, I have no intention of joining, download the brochure, and for your team or your agents, I think you'd get tons of ideas of things that we've done, like those examples I gave, that can help really save money and come up with simpler processes.
Perfect. And, it's so exciting to see your growth and success and the adaptations that you make, and, becoming more and more efficient. It's certainly inspiring for me. I'm always trying to reevaluate, even just off this. I'm thinking in my head, okay, I got to look at this and this. How can I improve on those? So I'm certainly going to check it out. Is there anything else that you want to say before we sign off, going out to the people that are going to be watching it, or any advice that you could give them on one last thought?
I would say to really be consistent, as far as for me, when we talked about before, consistency is key. And, just every day, if you don't feel like you can be consistent with it, then come up with a plan that you can be consistent with. So I have people all the time who are like, Chantel, you inspired me to wake up at 5 a.m. every day and do this. And then I'll see them and they'll say, oh, I just couldn't keep up with that. And I go, well, but 5 a.m. may not be your consistency lane. I decided that 5 a.m. wasn't my consistency lane anymore. I'm moving it to 6 a.m., which is fine. And so even though some days I might do 5 a.m. and some days I do 6, it's every Friday I'm up at 5 a.m., right? Well, every Thursday I might be up at 6 a.m. So I'm still very consistent in that. And so I just say, find your consistency lane, so if you say every day maybe right now you're getting up at 9 a.m. Well, okay, then push it to 8 a.m., and say, okay, every day I'm going to get up at 8 a.m. and do that workout. And one of the books I love, I think it's from Atomic Habits, but the guy said, he's talking about going to the gym, and he said, For 30 days, he went to the gym and he could only stay for 5 minutes. And that really helped him because he was like, well, if all I have to do is work out for 5 minutes, then I could definitely do that. And so I'm going to do that. And so like for me, I've upped my game on, I love intermittent fasting. If anyone has maybe gained that COVID-19 and wants to lose some weight, I would say check out chantelrayway.com because I have all my books on intermittent fasting and how I lost over 30 pounds and kept it off. And I would say, one of the things I always say, even with the weight loss stuff, is that every person, even if they're a thin eater, they have a few days where they take a few steps back, right? And if your goal is to go from point A to point B, like let's say I was at my house and you live down the street. So I'm at my house, I want to get to your house. If I stumbled and took a few steps backwards, why would I go all the way back to my house if my goal is to get to your house? And so my advice to you is just take a couple steps back and keep going towards the direction of your goal. So like when I see people, they're like, oh, I had a horrible weekend. I'm going to start the following Monday to start losing weight. And it's like, no, you took a couple steps backwards. No big deal. We're not going to eat everything but the kitchen sink and go all the way back to my house if my goal is to get to your house. And so just really focus on being consistent. But if you're not consistent and you take a couple steps backwards, that's okay. We're just not going to head all the way back. Because if you think about it, watch. If I took a couple steps back, but now I took 4 steps forward, even if I took 2 steps back and now I took 4 steps forward, guess what? I'm still moving towards my goal, right? Like my goal is here. I'm going to get there, even if I take a couple steps back. But that's where people get hung up is they go, oh, well, screw it. I knew this wasn't going to work. And they have, it's like that. It's like the devil and the angel. And it's like, you've got the devil over here and they're like, you're no good. You screwed up. You aren't going to be able to do this. And then you have kind of your good angel over here who's like, yes, you can do it. And so my suggestion is to just really quote Bible verses. Like anytime I'm in the pit and I'm going down, like on my chantelrayway.com/Bible verses, I have a list of Bible verses for whenever, the devil, like maybe I gained 3 pounds. I've gained 5 pounds over COVID. And I'm going to lose all 5 pounds, but it's not a big deal. That's what I'm saying. People who are thin, they can gain 3 pounds, they can gain 5 pounds, but I can rest assured I'm not gaining 6, right? Like I can gain 3 pounds, no big deal. I'll lose those 3 pounds. I might gain 4 pounds. I'm going to lose those 4 pounds. I take a couple steps back, no big deal. I come right back in and crush it.
Great job. And you know what, guys? Just to reiterate, I love it. Just keep going forward. Even if you have that off day, it's no big deal. You bounce right back the next day and you're going to hit it. And she has some great examples. We're going to put the links below. Chantel Ray, thank you so much for coming on the show. Please like and subscribe. Put your comments if you're interested. I'm sure she can respond, and go make sure to check it out. She is amazing, amazing person. I've known her for several years now, and I'm always inspired by what she has to talk about or the help that she's given me personally as well. So guys, make sure that you take advantage of it. Take a look, and thank you so much for having you on the show. All right, everyone, take care. Okay, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.